Hello everyone, it's time for the Giants. It's Giants time, and it might have been a lot of good and positive vibes of New York. At the same time, it kind of probably dwindled a lot in last couple of weeks because, well, A, I'm not super high on Harbaugh. I think it's a very good hire. I don't think it's the perfect hire, but B, the biggest one, the Dexter Lawrence situation, and it's kind of like bad for for the organization, for Harbaugh, because A, yes, they have been underpaying him like compared to what he was doing, but B, he did not have a good 25, and it's like, was he checked out? Do we like let it pass? Is he slowing down? Potentially. If so, like nevertheless, the view on him is not he's the best defensive line player or like interior defensive line player, so we would be selling high. Now letting go of the centerpiece of our defense, like how the fans are going to stomach, like it's a shitty situation for the Giants because you might overpay for a guy that was actually slowing down or for a guy that was checked out last year, even though I think he's awesome, or you let go of a guy that could be like Super Bowl winner if you let him go to like a Seahawks or some team like that. So very interesting situation how they're going to handle this. And like prior to that, you would be like, well, this is actually very easy in terms of their draft room. It's like O-line and D-line, and they actually have needs there. Okay, O-line and D-line. That's what the Giants are under Harbaugh. Like let's do this. Like we have seen this with his brother in the Chargers, like the first pick, Joey Alt, not kidding around. Everybody was like, we need wide receiver. No, it's Joey Alt. And how that fare out? Very well. So it would have been easy. Now it's getting harder. Now, if you just want quick thoughts on what the Giants war room could look like, it's like this. If you want to dig deeper, if you want to support this channel, stick with me and we'll go to it to a degree much deeper. Now, let's start with a QB, Jackson Dart. Backed up by Jameis Winston. Yeah, I don't think you are touching this room. At the same time with Jackson, it's like, dude, please take care of yourself. Because like, you know, like I don't want to see you in blue tent. I want to see you in blue on the field. So let's hope. Let's hope that Jackson leans to take more protection of his body. But this is clearly the room you are not investing. Now, with their running back room, there is a potential for them to actually view this as a need. I don't think they will, but with Thibodeaux, the situation is clear. He is a freaking stud. I love Thibodeaux. He's just so fun on the field. So fun. Will he stay healthy? And if he doesn't, how much do you trust in Devin Singletary as their veteran option? I'm also big on Devin Singletary, so I would not touch this room. But if there is like one pick that could shock you, it could be Giants and Jeremiah Love. I think it could happen, you know? What is the best help for young quarterback to develop? Run game. Jeremiah Love and Thibodeaux, that online is kind of in like not necessarily the worst of situations. It's intriguing. And with Thibodeaux's health situations and like his playing style, I can see that happening. I truly do. Like, we have not expected Falcons to draft Bijan. And yes, I get Thibodeaux with his personality. He's much more exciting player than Tyler Algier. But in terms of where they were after U1, I think they were in kind of very similar situation. So I would not be shocked if Jeremiah Love is going to be a Giant. I would not do it. I have this as tier 3 need because I think Devin Singletary is a fine RB3 and Tyron Tracy is kind of a more pass catcher type of option. So I really like this room. But like if you want really a hot take that, you know, I think has like a 5% chance of happening, Jeremiah Love to the Giants. Now, speaking of their young core, what do you need other than good run game? You need your alpha wide receiver, and you have that in Mike Neighbors. Fingers crossed he stays healthy. Behind it, it's not that good. Now, at the same time, knowing Harbaugh, we'll probably see more 12 personnel from the Giants that we have used in the past, and they have, you know, obviously one of their biggest and best signings, in my opinion, was Isaiah Likely. You have a couple of Chris Hartman-Hertz, like veteran tight ends there, as well as Thomas Fidone and Theo Johnson as like potential, still hopefully developmental pieces. So they have a lot of tight ends that I think they trust. Isaiah Likely is kind of your, you know, like wide receiver-ish type of tight end, if you want to put it this way. Like blocking is not necessarily his specialty. So they will use 12 personnel much more. And in that scenario, you could be like, okay, so Mike Neighbors is our alpha, and then we have Darius Slayton and Darnell Mooney. Hopefully one of these guys is wide receiver 2, or like, okay, we have not necessarily great like situation there, but like we can live with that. You can. The problem is even teams that are heavy on 12 personnel run 13 like 50% of the time, and you also don't have pretty much anyone I like behind it. Like your 4 is Calvin Austin, Isaiah Hodgins, Jalen Hyatt. No, not in my book. So I would call this a tier 2 need, because you don't need alpha. You have that in Mike Neighbors. And also like looking at it as like truly spending the premium there is kind of questionable when like the usage is not going to be as like the Bengals, you know, like where you like really want to live in 11 personnel. So to me, tier 2 need for their wide receiver. We already talked about tight ends. I am big on this room. I really like Isaiah Likely, and I think a lot of other guys that they have brought in, including Patrick Ricard, is kind of the guy that they will use in 12 and 13 personnels. I think they are ready for it. They have made enough investment here that I just don't think they should do more. Now, let's go and speak about their offensive line, because sneakily, Giants' offensive line has been functional last 2 years. And I would actually really compliment what their general management have done to this room with bringing Johnny Arner and German Illuminer, because they are not guys that are going to sell tickets, that are going to be like big on the fan base, but they were just smart veteran signings that were giving you very nice floor, in Illuminer case, even flexibility over guard and tackle. And yes, at the end of the day, you want to upgrade on these guys. Like in the nicest of situations, they are not your starters, but they absolutely are great functional starters, you know, for when you just need your own line to function, and it has not functioned for a long time for the Giants. And they have even survived when Andrew Thomas went down, which is kind of crazy, because like he is by far their best offensive lineman. At the same time, like when I looked at the starting 5, and you're talking injury-prone Andrew Thomas, John Runyon, who you eventually want to get better at, John Michael Schmitz, who have not returned what they were promised from him in terms of draft, Daniel Faalele, that they have brought from Baltimore. It's like, all right, there's probably a lot of reasons why Baltimore let him go, and he's what? How much they paid him? Yeah, there's not been details yet, but like him and Aaron Steeney is like, all right, this is our second guard, and then on the other side you have Jermaine Illumer, who's fine, but you know it's Jermaine Illumer who's fine. It's like Lucas Patrick, Evan Neal, like there are bodies there that like perhaps you can convince yourself that you have also Marcus Mbow as your developmental piece. Man, I really think that overall this line needs premium adjustment. I would not go with tackles, because like Mbow is interesting, and he actually was not super bad on the field, which is like was kind of surprising, because everybody thought like this dude cannot touch the field for 2 years. He actually needed to play some snaps last year, and like he was not dreadful, so that's good. And Jermaine Illumer is really fine, and you just hope that Andrew Thomas is going to stay healthy. And like again, like do you necessarily spend premium pick on a guy that you hope to be backup? I would not think so. Like if they would go for anyone that can play tackle, I would say they would be like very similar to like Trent Williams with the 49ers situation. Like first we will play him in guard. If he sticks there and he's all pro there, great. If he's not working there, or if Andrew Thomas goes down, we will have that backup plan. So I think you are looking at guard first, tackle potential type of premium investment, and it aligns very well, because let's be honest, that guard room is like patchwork on patchwork on patchwork, and it's like it can work like to a degree that it's not completely dreadful, but like you want to upgrade it. So clearly a tier 1 need for their interior, and very much preferred a guy that has tackle potential or tackle flexibility. So you know that's how I think they absolutely need to view this. And if you are John Harbaugh or Jim, like like guys, I'm so bad with names. I'm sorry for that. I do mash up these two guys a lot. like starting just like your brother started with the Chargers, with Joey Alt, I think they will start most likely with offensive linemen. You know, it's a very commonly pick. I would not like have anything against that. They also kind of need to plan for the center because John Michael Schmitz is up for the contract after this year, and like they might be like, okay, you are our Johnny Runyon of the centers, like we are fine with you, like 2 years, 15 million after this year, or like 12 million, something like that. So there is not a big urgency, but if a guy can play center as well, they are definitely looking for versatile options. Now let's shift towards the defense. Edge, as of right now, is clearly tier 3 need. But you can make an argument that, you know, Kayvon Thibodeaux or even Brian Burns potentially could be, like, in case of interest, moved. Because with Abdul Carter, I think he is their future number one. And they have invested a ton of capital, and like a lot of teams would die to have such an edge room. But at the same time, you might look towards the future where Kayvon Thibodeaux is up for the contract after the season. Abdul Carter clearly passed the test in year one that he could lead this room. And you would be like, okay, perhaps we have overinvested here. You know, let's recoup some of the investments and trade one of the guys. So I would not be shocked there. Because with Chancey Golston as your 4, that's luxurious. Right now, tier 3 need, depending if we will see some trades, it might like go slightly higher. But even then, like even if they lose one of the guys, I would probably still call this a tier 3 need. It's clearly what they have done with this room that it's massively invested in, and it's damn good. Now, Sexy Dexy, yeah, as of right now, I have this room as a low tier 2 need because Sexy Dexy carries it. I still do trust in Darius Alexander, even though his first year was bad. Yeah, it was bad. And in Robertson Harris, you kind of have fine guy. Still, the depth is not there. And like, how much do you still trust in Darius Alexander after kind of a poor year? Like, he was still third round pick, so I don't think they will just bench him. You are not getting any option after such a bad rookie year. But at the same time, like, you want more bodies because like your starting tree is like kind of okay, and if one guy is not there, it's really bad. And now the question is, what if the guy is not there? Because that kind of launches this into stratosphere of needs. It's clear tier 1 if Dexter is not there, and like it's tier 1 with a caveat of spending premium and day to pick as well. Like that's where I think they are right now, and you would have to replace Dexter Lawrence, which with this year's defensive tackles, it's going to be hard, very hard to do. Like, obviously, like, it's impossible in year 1, but like even looking at the talent to potentially replace him and like feel good about it, that's actually very shaky with this year's draft, where like the best defensive tackles usually come off board from like 20 plus. So there is no like the blue chip or even like top 10 type of pick. If you are not concerned about, if you are concerned about medicals, because if you are not, then there is one guy. Perhaps, just perhaps, could be a top 10 pick. Now, switching to another position that is usually mocked to them in the first round, and like with their first round pick, like 5 they have, and it's linebacker. And here I'm like sticking my like ball or hand out and say like, no, why? For once, I'm actually like perhaps opposite of consensus, Jeremy Edmonds, because I think this is, finally he got paid what he is worth. Like, I think he was heavily overpaid with the Bears. I think he's fine linebacker 1. I think he had a very nice year last year. I like Micah McFadden. You have development in Darius Mosa, so I'm like, why would I spend premium here? Like, yeah, it's not the room you write home about, but is this a room that you actually like have to absolutely upgrade with your premium picks? No, like I would probably add development linebacker, but like I don't feel like any urgency to do it like prior to day 3, round 4. And I'm like, yeah, if they draft Tony Styles, which is also like what is currently a lot of mock there, it's like, all right, obviously he would improve this room tremendously. I'm not saying he wouldn't, but like in terms of how I would manage my resources, I would low-key hate it for the Giants. So, if there's like one thing that is commonly mocked, I would be very heavily against, opposite to David Bailey to Jets, because I don't like that fit either. it would be Sonny Styles to the Giants, man. I would really not like it, unless, if they trade back, say the Chiefs want to go up and grab like Ruben May or whatever they want to grab in 5, and then you can get Sonny Styles in 9. Like, that differs the occasion because you at least got something back. But if they really spend the top 5 pick on Sonny Styles, I will be very, very critical about that on draft night. So if you want to hear that chant or rumbling from me on the draft night, here it is. Now, speaking of their secondary, they have invested there quite a lot. Is it a great room? No. Unfortunately, Paulson Adebo's first year with the Giants was not up to the standard that I was hoping for. Drew Phillips comes back from injury to retake his slot position. And you have signed Greg Newsome. And there is still the entire bank. So I actually think they view this as very closely to tier 3. Not because they feel like this is greatest room in the freaking universe, but because there is enough bodies to compete, to start right now, and we kind of need to know if our investments in Adebo, in banks, are actually going to pay off, and how much we want to pay Drew Phillips. So it's kind of a room where it's more glassy than you would like to, but at the same time we are talking about the year when we are not looking at the Super Bowl, so you have room to go with it. And I would call this between high tier 3 and low tier 2, because I want to get another guy into the room to just fight and, push these guys, as well as, being a potential cheaper option over the veterans in 27. Now, shifting to the last positions, the safeties. They have this in very similar position to their CB room, because they have made big investment last year in Javon Holland. It have not worked out, especially I was huge on this. I felt like this was a huge steal. And it seems like Dolphins for once were actually right about the player not necessarily being as good as at least I and a lot of others think. Still, in a year when you are not going to the Super Bowl and you have Javon Holland, Tyler Nubin, and they brought Ardarius Washington, which is another sneaky signing from Harbaugh, because he was poised for a breakout year. Last season with the Ravens, unfortunately, he went down preseason, so they were able to grab him for 1 year cheap type of prove it deal. You have 3 safeties that I really like in terms of where they are in the timeline, what we are expecting of them. So tier 3 need, if I ever seen one, even though people will be like, okay, but Holland was bad, you've been kind of fine, and who the hell is Ardarius Washington? I think that's going to be view of a lot of people. And I will be like, nope, this is absolutely a fine room, and I will be shocked if they spend anything other than day 3 pick on some depth here. These are your Giants. Clearly, what their priorities are is beefing up, especially if they would lose Dexter Lawrence, and it is helping Jackson Dart. So with that, in hand, when we talk about that's a secondary room where perhaps you are not super happy with it, I don't care, man. I absolutely don't freaking care. This year is about Jackson Dart, and yes, you need to look competent. And if you lose Dexter Lawrence, you absolutely need to invest into that interior of the defensive line. But at the same time, if Dexter is there, I would be absolutely okay with not spending a single pick prior to day 3 on defense. Even if you traded one of Kayvon Thibodeaux and Brian Burns, I would be absolutely okay with that, because going forward, that would be, in my eyes, the best plan. Support freaking Jackson Dart. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this one, and see you with the next one, which will be either Eagles or Commanders, or perhaps, how about damn Cowboys. Bye-bye.